So, shalom, and I'm delighted to be part of this new initiative on Jewish Values Online, and look forward to opportunities to get some feedback, or as we say, a devar acher, another interpretation, and another, not one right and somebody else is wrong, but another interpretation, albeit it should be, what shall we say, defensible. And for my first participation, I hope I'll have other opportunities to be part of this program. I reflected on what if we only had one section of Torah to elaborate and learn what is the unique insight, what are the genius convictions that Judaism brings to the world that we share with ourselves and with others, what would be among the candidates? And clearly there is more than one candidate for it, and I've chosen in Vayishlach, Genesis chapter 32, beginning with verse 23. It's the famous episode of Jacob wrestling with whomever and whatever it is he wrestles with that fateful night. And among the reasons I find the idea fascinating, and then more specifically this text, is from the ancient world, we have an incredible body of literature, an enormous library that comes to us via the Jewish tradition, compared to so many other traditions that come out of that same part of the world where we have but fragments. And from those fragments, scholars are invariably weaving extraordinary notions of this is what they did, this is what they believed, these were their values, etc. So let's take a look at this one section. It is a great candidate for this possibility. Thank God it is only a possibility. We have so much more. And see what we might see, at least in this brief format. So, you know, no doubt, it's the night before Jacob is going to meet his brother Esau. 20 years earlier, the last time they saw each other, as far as Jacob knew, his brother had evil intent, murderous intent. And he crosses the Jabbok. There's no turning back. And on the morrow, he's going to meet his brother and his destiny. And as the text says, Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him. And it's, of course, interesting. Ish Ye'avek, Ish Imo, a man wrestled with him, and we all understand the tradition indicates, no, it was not just a man, it was a divine being, an angel, whatever the case may be. But the text is unequivocal, the Hebrew is precise. And Ish wrestled with him. The wrestling match is indecisive. No one conquers, no one wins, until the Ish, the other, engages in a illegal wrestling hold, wounds Jacob, yet Jacob will not let go. Indeed, I will not let you go until you bless me. I find that important, instructive as just one phrase of, with the vagaries of life, the things we don't want to happen, even though that we find them devastating, painful. Don't let it go until we might find what is the blessing, what is the learning, what is that which can make us more human and humane that we may derive from that experience. Back to the text. The other says, you're no longer Yaakov, which does have the implication of crooked, bent. Ki'im Yisrael, rather Israel. Ki sarita im Elokim ve'im anashim v'tuchal. For you have whatever sarita means, and we normally translate it as you have wrestled with, you struggled with. And Elokim clearly, most commonly, almost always means God, even though the translations do bow to the notion of beings divine. Ve'im anashim, and with people, Vatuchal. And here's where translations have traditionally erred. They usually say Vatuchal, and you have prevailed. You've won the victory. But Tuchal doesn't mean that. No, it's much more in keeping with the Hebrew phrase Yachol Lihiyot. It's possible. It's capable. You are capable of doing it. That is to say, to be Israel means you wrestle with deity, and you wrestle with humanity, and you are capable of doing that. At the very least, that's one of the vital implications of what it means to be part of this people's story. And then, of course, Yaakov, Israel, asked the other's name, and You must not ask my name. And then Jacob calls the place Peniel, which means face of God. And he says so. Ki ra'iti Elokim panim el panim v'tinatzel nafshi. Because I beheld, I saw God face to face. And I survived. My soul, my life was preserved. So the question becomes, did he wrestle with an ish, a man? Did he wrestle with deity? And the answer is yes. I love that possibility, that notion, because what it suggests is, in Judaism at least, there's no such thing as secular humanism. When we engage with the other, when we meet the other, we are in fact getting as close to the sacred, to the holy dimension at the heart of life that we possibly can. Namely, we meet a face. Every face has the face of God. That's confirmed a few verses later in the next chapter, verse 10, where in fact he does meet Esau. Esau embraces him, however the tradition's ambivalence about that embrace. And he says, Jacob says, Ki al kain ra'iti fanecha kirot pnei Elohim v'tir seini. For looking upon your face is the equivalent of seeing God's face, and you have accepted me. You have been favorable to me. You have shown me favor. There's something exquisite and important in that, namely the closest we can come to the sacred dimension at the heart of life is when we come close to each other. Again, exclamation point. Judaism doesn't know from secular humanism. It's only sacred. But let's try to unpack this wonderful name, Yisrael. Some have suggested, of course, in keeping with the text, it means that we wrestle with God and we wrestle with humanity. Another option, Yaakov, crooked, Yisrael, Yashar, kill, made straight by God, or one of the most absolutely exquisite ideas. I believe it was Rav Kook who first suggested, since Rav Kook, the great chief rabbi of then Palestine, who was a pacifist and therefore was a little uncomfortable with a notion that our patronymic name, the name of our people, somehow is connected to conflict. He suggested don't read Kisarita, rather Yashir El. He will sing God. That is the chorus, the heart of our message to the world. God, yes. God, yes. One other important notion for me. If I had written the Torah, lahavdil, no doubt for the rest of his life I would have Jacob no longer be Jacob. I'd have him be Yisrael, that person who sings God, that person made straight by God, that person who wrestles. But the text is far more sophisticated. There are occasions when we are Jacob-like. There are occasions when we are Yisrael-like. The important thing is to grow more and more into Yisrael and to leave a little bit of that limping Jacob behind. To know that there are moments when we can be at Peniel, that it's not any place, it's potentially at least every place. So for me, that's some of the reasons why this one exquisite, magnificent portion is enough to say Dayenu, but thank God there's more and more and more. Appreciate the chance to comment, and I thank you for this opportunity.